Marcus's fist connected with Emma's jaw, snapping her head back against the concrete pillar. Blood filled her mouth as his hand closed around her throat. "You think you can leave me?" he snarled, his fingers digging into her windpipe. The parking garage echoed with her choked gasps. Then came the voice, deep cold, commanding, "You like hitting women." Marcus spun around. A massive figure stood 15 feet away, leather vest catching the fluorescent light. The Hell's Angel patch gleamed on his back. The biker's eyes held something that made Marcus's blood run cold. "I asked you a question. Before we continue, please hit that subscribe button and stay with me until the end of this story. And drop a comment letting me know what city you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel." Emma Rodriguez's hands trembled as she counted the cash drawer for the third time. The numbers kept swimming in front of her eyes, refusing to make sense. Behind her, the last customer of the night pushed through the diner's glass door, the bell chiming his departure into the darkness. "You okay, honey?" Diane asked from behind the counter. The older waitress had worked at Miller's Diner for 23 years and could read trouble on a person's face like headlines on a newspaper. Emma forced a smile. "Just tired. Long shift." Diane didn't buy it. "That's the third time this week you've miscounted that drawer. What's going on?" "Nothing. Really." Emma closed the register with more force than necessary. "I should get going." Diane's weathered hand caught her wrist, gentle but firm. "Emma, talk to me." But Emma couldn't. Not yet. Not here. She pulled away, grabbed her purse from under the counter, and headed for the employee exit. The cool October air hit her face as she pushed through the back door into the parking garage. Her Toyota sat on level 3, and she'd parked it there this morning when the sun was shining and everything felt manageable. Now at 11:30 at night, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting sickly yellow shadows between the concrete pillars. Emma's footsteps echoed as she walked, her keys already gripped between her fingers, the way the self-defense video had taught her. Her phone buzzed. She didn't need to look to know who it was. Marcus had been texting for 3 days straight. 17 messages yesterday, 23 the day before, each one angrier than the last. "You can't ignore me forever. You're making a mistake. Nobody walks away from me. You'll regret this." The restraining order was supposed to stop this. The piece of paper Judge Morrison had signed 2 weeks ago was supposed to give her peace. But Marcus Reed had never cared much about rules, and a court order wasn't going to change that. Emma's car came into view. 50 more feet. 40. 30. The footsteps behind her came fast. She spun around, and there he was. Marcus. His face was flushed, eyes wild. He'd been drinking, she could tell by the way he swayed slightly, by the reckless energy radiating off him. "Marcus, don't." He closed the distance between them in 3 strides. "Don't you dare say my name like that, like I'm some stranger. You're violating the restraining order." Emma's voice shook despite her effort to sound strong. "You need to leave." "I need to leave." Marcus laughed, harsh and bitter. "Baby, the only place I'm going is home, with you." "That's not happening." Emma backed up until her shoulders hit a concrete pillar. "We're done. We've been done." "We're done when I say we're done." Marcus moved closer, trapping her against the pillar. His cologne, the expensive kind he always wore, mixed with the smell of whiskey. "You think you can just walk away after everything I gave you?" "You didn't give me anything except bruises and fear." The words came out before Emma could stop them. She watched Marcus's face transform, watched the mask he wore for the rest of the world crack and reveal the monster underneath. "Bruises." His voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "You want to talk about bruises, Emma? You want to discuss pain?" His hand shot out, fingers wrapping around her throat. Emma's scream died before it could form. She clawed at his hands, her nails raking across his skin, but Marcus didn't flinch. "I loved you." His grip tightened. "I gave you everything. A place to live, money, respect, and you threw it back in my face." Black spots danced at the edges of Emma's vision. Her lungs burned. The parking garage tilted sideways. "You embarrassed me," Marcus continued. His face was inches from hers now, close enough that she could see the broken blood vessels in his eyes, smell the alcohol on his breath. You filed that restraining order and made me look like some kind of monster in front of everyone. Emma's fingers found his face nails digging in. Marcus jerked back slightly, and she managed to drag in half a breath before his other hand slammed her head against the concrete pillar. Stars exploded across her vision. "You're nothing without me." Marcus's voice seemed to come from far away now. "Nobody. Do you understand? Without me, you're just some pathetic waitress serving coffee to truck drivers." Emma's legs gave out. Only Marcus's grip on her throat kept her upright. Her phone fell from her pocket, the screen shattering against the concrete floor. Help wasn't coming. Nobody knew she was here. Nobody was going to save her. Marcus leaned closer. "Maybe I should remind you what happens when you disrespect me. Remember our last fight, Emma? Remember what I did when you talked back?" She remembered. God, she remembered. The hospital. The lies she'd told the ER doctor. The makeup she'd worn for 2 weeks to cover the bruises. "I think you need another lesson." Marcus's free hand drew back, fingers curling into a fist. This was it. Emma closed her eyes. The blow never came. Instead, a voice cut through the parking garage like a knife through silk. "You like hitting women?" Marcus's grip on Emma's throat loosened fractionally. She gulped in air as he turned his head toward the voice. A man stood 15 feet away. Massive. 6'4", maybe 6'5", with shoulders that seemed to fill the space between the concrete pillars. His leather vest hung open over a black t-shirt, and even from this distance, Emma could see the patch on his back, Thunder Valley, MC. Hell's Angels. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across the man's face, weathered maybe mid-40s with a jaw that looked carved from granite. Tattoos crawled up his neck and disappeared into his dark hair. But it was his eyes that held Emma's attention. Cold, calculating, deadly calm. "Mind your own business," Marcus said. But his voice had lost some of its edge. The biker took a step forward. His boots echoed off the concrete. "I asked you a question." His voice was conversational, almost pleasant. Somehow, that made it more terrifying. "You like hitting women." "This is between me and my girlfriend." "Ex-girlfriend," Emma managed to croak out. Her throat felt like sandpaper. Marcus's hand tightened again. "Shut up." The biker took another step, then another. He moved like a predator, unhurried but purposeful. "Let her go." "Or what?" Marcus tried to sound tough, but Emma felt him trembling. "What are you going to do, old man?" The biker smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "I'm going to ask nicely one more time. Then I stop being polite. Fuck you." Marcus released Emma's throat, shoving her aside. She collapsed against the pillar, gasping. "You want a piece of this? Come get some." "Marcus, don't..." Emma tried to warn him, but her voice came out as a rasp. The biker closed the remaining distance in 3 long strides. Marcus swung first, a wild haymaker fueled by alcohol and rage. The biker moved his head 6 inches to the left. Marcus's fist whistled through empty air. Before Marcus could recover, the biker's hand shot out and caught him by the throat the same way Marcus had held Emma. But where Marcus had been brutal and angry, this man was controlled, precise. "My name's Hawk," the biker said conversationally, as if they were meeting at a barbecue instead of a parking garage at midnight. "And I'm going to teach you something your daddy should have taught you a long time ago." Hawk lifted Marcus off his feet with one hand, just lifted him straight up into the air like he weighed nothing. Marcus's feet kicked uselessly, his hands clawing at Hawk's iron grip. "Lesson 1, Hawk continued in that same calm voice. "Real men don't put their hands on women." Emma watched, frozen against the pillar. She should call the police. She should run. She should do something. But she couldn't move. Couldn't think beyond the primal satisfaction of watching Marcus finally face consequences. Lesson 2. Hawk walked forward, carrying Marcus like a child carrying a doll. He slammed Marcus against a concrete pillar, not hard enough to cause serious damage, but hard enough to make a point. When someone says no, you listen. Marcus's face had gone from red to purple. His eyes bulged. Spittle flew from his lips as he tried to speak. Lesson 3. Hawk's voice dropped even lower. If you ever, and I mean ever, come near this woman again, I will find you. Do you understand me? Marcus managed a strangled nod. I don't think you do. Hawk tightened his grip slightly. See, I know guys like you. You think you're tough because you can beat up someone half your size. You think you're a man because you can make a woman afraid. Emma found her voice. Stop. You're going to kill him. Hawk glanced at her. His eyes softened just a fraction. That would be too easy. He lowered Marcus to the ground but didn't release him. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stand here while this woman calls the police. You're going to confess to violating your restraining order, and you're going to spend the night in a cell thinking about what a piece of shit you are. I'll fucking kill you, Marcus wheezed. Wrong answer. Hawk's free hand moved so fast Emma almost missed it. 1 second Marcus was threatening him. The next Marcus was doubled over, gasping for air, Hawk's fist buried in his solar plexus. Let me be clear, Hawk said, his voice still eerily calm. I served 3 tours in Afghanistan. I've killed men who were a hell of a lot tougher than you. I've seen things that would give you nightmares for the rest of your life. So when I tell you that you're done hurting this woman, you better believe I mean it. Marcus crumpled to the ground when Hawk finally released him. He lay there gasping, curled into a fetal position. Hawk turned to Emma. Up close, his eyes were lighter than she'd thought, not brown but hazel flecked with gold. You hurt. His voice had lost its edge, gone gentle. Emma nodded, then shook her head, then started crying. Great, racking sobs that she'd been holding back for months. Her legs gave out, and suddenly Hawk was there, catching her before she hit the ground. Easy. You're okay. You're safe now. He helped her sit against the pillar, then shrugged out of his leather vest and draped it over her shoulders. It smelled like leather and motor oil, and something else. Something clean and safe. My phone, Emma managed between sobs. It's broken. Use mine. Hawk pulled a phone from his pocket, dialed 911, and handed it to her. Emma's hand shook so badly she almost dropped it. Hello, I need police. Parking garage. Corner of 5th and Madison. Level 3. My ex-boyfriend. He attacked me. There's a restraining order. The dispatcher's voice was calm, professional. Help was coming. Emma handed the phone back to Hawk. They're sending someone. Good. Hawk moved to stand over Marcus, who was still curled up on the ground. You move and we'll go another round. Understand? Marcus didn't answer. They waited in silence. Emma couldn't stop shaking. Every few seconds, Hawk would glance over at her, checking without hovering. It was strange, this massive, terrifying man who'd just choked her ex-boyfriend was now standing guard like some kind of guardian angel in leather and denim. Why? Emma asked finally. Why did you help me? Hawk was quiet for a long moment. Because someone should have helped my sister. His jaw tightened, and nobody did. Before Emma could ask what he meant, sirens echoed through the parking garage. Red and blue lights reflected off the concrete walls. 2 squad cars pulled up, doors opening before the vehicles had fully stopped. Police, let me see your hands. Hawk raised his hands slowly, palms out. My name's Raven Harrison. I'm a witness. The man on the ground attacked this woman. I intervened. One of the officers, a stocky man in his 40s with sergeant stripes, approached cautiously. His eyes flickered to Hawk's tattoos, to the Thunder Valley MC patch on the vest Emma was wearing. Recognition dawned on his face. Hawk, that you... Hey, Rodriguez. Hawk lowered his hands. Been a while. 4 years. Sergeant Rodriguez's posture relaxed slightly. He turned to his partner, a younger officer with nervous eyes. It's okay, Chen. I know this guy. Officer Chen didn't look convinced, but he lowered his weapon. Rodriguez moved to Emma. Ma'am, are you all right? Do you need medical attention? Emma touched her throat. It hurt to swallow, and she could already feel bruises forming. I'm okay. I just want him arrested. That can be arranged. Rodriguez looked down at Marcus, who was starting to recover his breath. Sir, I need you to stand up and place your hands behind your back. That psycho attacked me, Marcus protested, pointing at Hawk. Arrest him! Funny thing about that, Rodriguez said, hauling Marcus to his feet with less than gentle hands. See that camera up there? He pointed to a security camera mounted on the ceiling. And that one. And that one, I'm betting they all show you attacking this woman first. Now shut up and put your hands behind your back. Marcus's face went pale as Rodriguez cuffed him. You're making a mistake, Marcus said, but the fight had gone out of him. Emma, baby, tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Emma met his eyes. For months she'd been afraid of him, afraid of his anger, his threats, his fists. But looking at him now cuffed, scared, pathetic, she felt nothing but contempt. The only mistake I made, she said clearly, was staying with you as long as I did. Rodriguez led Marcus to one of the squad cars. Officer Chen approached Emma with a notebook. I need to get your statement, ma'am. For the next 20 minutes, Emma recounted everything. The texts, the threats, tonight's attack. Chen wrote it all down, his face carefully neutral. Hawk stood nearby, close enough that Emma could feel his presence, but far enough to give her space. Several times, Chen glanced at him nervously. Can I ask what happened when you arrived on scene, Mr. Harrison? Hawk's fine. The biker crossed his arms. I was riding through, heard a woman in distress. Found him choking her. I stopped him. How exactly did you stop him? Hawk's expression didn't change. I asked him nicely to let her go. He declined. I insisted. He insist. Chen looked at the video camera. Right. Well, I'll need you to come to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement. Not a problem. Rodriguez returned from the squad car. We're taking him in. Multiple violations of the restraining order, assault, battery. He's looking at serious time. Good, Emma said. Ma'am, do you have somewhere safe to go tonight? Rodriguez asked. Family, friends. Emma opened her mouth, then closed it. Her apartment wasn't safe. Marcus knew where she lived. Her parents were 3 states away. Her friends. Most of them had drifted away during her relationship with Marcus. He'd made sure of that. She can stay at the clubhouse. Hawk's voice was matter-of-fact. We have secure rooms. No one gets in without permission. Chen's eyes widened. Sir, I don't think... It's fine, Chen. Rodriguez cut him off. Thunder Valley's good people. Better security than most hotels, that's for damn sure. He turned to Emma. But it's your call, ma'am. Emma looked at Hawk. This man she'd known for less than an hour. This stranger who'd saved her life. Every instinct she'd developed over the past 2 years screamed at her not to trust any man ever again. But something in Hawk's eyes, a deep, bone-weary sadness, mixed with unwavering protection, made her nod. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Rodriguez handed her a card. Call me if you need anything. Anything at all. After the police left, taking Marcus with them, Emma and Hawk stood in the parking garage. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving Emma hollow and shaking. My car, she said. I should follow you. You're in no condition to drive. Hawk pulled out his phone. I'll call a prospect to bring a truck for your car. You ride with me. On your motorcycle, unless you want to walk. The corner of his mouth twitched, not quite a smile, but close. 20 minutes later, a younger man with a Thunder Valley prospect patch arrived in a pickup truck. Hawk handed him Emma's keys. Take it to the clubhouse. Park it in a safe spot. You got it, Hawk. The prospect, who couldn't have been more than 22, looked at Emma with concern. You okay, ma'am? I'm fine, Emma lied. Hawk's motorcycle was a massive thing, all chrome and black metal. He handed Emma a helmet. Ever been on a bike before? No. Hold on to me. Lean when I lean. Don't put your feet down at stops. Got it. Emma nodded, too exhausted to be nervous. She climbed onto the back of the bike, her arms wrapping around Hawk's waist. He was solid as a tree trunk warm through his t-shirt. The engine roared to life, and then they were moving. The cool October air rushed past, carrying away Emma's tears before they could fall. She pressed her face against Hawk's back and let herself cry properly for the first time in years. She cried for the woman she'd been before Marcus. She cried for the dreams she'd given up. She cried for every time she'd covered a bruise with makeup, for every lie she'd told about falling downstairs or walking into doors. And somewhere in those tears, mixed with the wind and the rumble of the engine and the solid presence of the man who'd saved her, Emma felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years. Hope. The clubhouse appeared after a 20-minute ride. It was bigger than Emma expected, a sprawling building with a tall fence and security cameras visible at every corner. Several motorcycles lined the front, gleaming even in the darkness. Hawk parked, helped Emma off the bike. "Come on, I'll introduce you to everyone." Everyone. Emma's newfound courage faltered. "How many people?" "Relax, most of them are asleep. But you need to meet Ace." Ace, club president. Hawk led her toward the front door. "Nothing happens here without his say-so. But don't worry, he's good people." The inside of the clubhouse was surprisingly homey. Comfortable couches, a pool table, a bar lined with bottles. Photos covered one wall, men on motorcycles, families at barbecues, charity events. A man stood when they entered. Tall, maybe 50, with gray threading through his dark hair and eyes that had seen too much. The patch on his vest said President. "Hawk." His voice was gravelly. "Heard there was trouble." Marcus Reed violated his restraining order, attacked Emma in a parking garage. I intervened. Police have him in custody. Ace's eyes moved to Emma, taking in her torn clothing, the bruises already forming on her throat. "Ma'am, I'm Ace. Welcome to Thunder Valley." "Thank you." Emma's voice cracked. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not a burden." Ace's voice was firm but kind. "We have a rule here. We protect women and children. No exceptions. You need a place to stay, you've got one." A woman appeared from a hallway, mid-30s, dark hair, kind eyes. "I'm Luna. Let's get you cleaned up." Emma followed Luna down a hallway to a small but comfortable room. A bed, a dresser, a window with curtains. "Bathroom's through there," Luna said, pointing. "There's clothes in the dresser, should fit you well enough. Shower, rest, whatever you need." "Why are you all being so nice to me?" Emma's voice broke. "You don't even know me." Luna's expression softened. 5 years ago, I was you. Different man, same story. The club took me in, kept me safe, helped me rebuild. She squeezed Emma's hand. "Now I return the favor when I can. You're safe here, Emma. I promise." After Luna left, Emma stood in the middle of the room, still wearing Hawk's vest. She could hear voices from the main room, low, serious discussion. She moved to the door, pressed her ear against it. "Can't stay here forever," someone was saying. "Reed's got friends. They'll figure out where she is." "Let them try." That was Hawk's voice, cold and certain. "Anyone comes for her, they deal with all of us." "Hawk's right." Ace's voice. "We voted. She's under club protection now. That means something." Emma pulled back from the door, her heart pounding. These people, these strangers, were willing to protect her, to stand between her and Marcus. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Bruises ringed her throat like a necklace. Her lip was split. Her eye was swelling. But she was alive. She was safe. And for the first time in 2 years, Emma Rodriguez smiled at her reflection. Tomorrow, she'd figure out what came next. Tomorrow, she'd worry about Marcus and restraining orders and pressing charges. Tonight, she would sleep without fear. Tonight, she had found sanctuary. Emma woke to the sound of motorcycles rumbling to life outside her window. For 3 disorienting seconds, she didn't know where she was. Then the previous night crashed back: Marcus, the parking garage, Hawk, the clubhouse. Her hand flew to her throat, fingers probing the tender bruises circling her neck like a collar. The digital clock on the nightstand read 6:47. Morning light filtered through the curtains, soft and clean. Emma sat up, every muscle in her body protesting. She felt like she'd been hit by a truck, which wasn't far from the truth. Someone knocked on the door. "Emma, you awake?" Luna's voice, kind, safe. "Yeah, come in." Luna entered carrying a tray with coffee toast and scrambled eggs. "Figured you'd be hungry. Most people don't eat much after a night like that, but you should try." Emma accepted the tray with shaking hands. Thank you for everything, for the room, for don't. Luna sat on the edge of the bed. We've all been where you are. Different circumstances, same feeling. Like the world just tilted sideways and you can't figure out which way is up. Emma took a sip of coffee. It was strong, black, perfect. How long did it take you to feel normal again? Normal's overrated. Luna smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Took me about a year to stop jumping at shadows. 2 years before I could sleep through the night. 3 before I stopped checking over my shoulder every 5 seconds. That's not encouraging. No, but it's honest. Luna stood. Hawk's in the main room. He wants to talk to you when you're ready. No rush, though. Take your time. After Luna left, Emma forced herself to eat. The eggs tasted like cardboard, but she made herself swallow every bite. She needed strength for whatever came next. She showered, dressed in borrowed clothes, jeans that fit well enough, and a Thunder Valley t-shirt that hung loose on her frame. In the mirror, the bruises on her throat looked worse in daylight. Dark purple fingerprints. Evidence. The main room was quieter than last night. Only a handful of people remained. Hawk sat at the bar, nursing coffee. Ace stood by the window on his phone, and 2 other men Emma didn't recognize played pool in the corner. Hawk looked up when she entered. How you feeling? Like I got strangled in a parking garage. The corner of his mouth twitched. At least you've still got your sense of humor. He gestured to the stool beside him. Sit. We need to talk. Emma climbed onto the stool, accepted the coffee he poured for her. Is this the part where you tell me I can't stay? This is the part where I tell you Marcus made bail 2 hours ago. The coffee mug slipped from Emma's fingers. It hit the bar, shattering. Hot liquid splashed across her hands, but she barely felt it. What? Her voice came out strangled. How is that possible? They arrested him last night for his lawyer's good, better than he should be able to afford. Hawk's expression was grim. Judge set bail at $50,000. Marcus posted it by 4 this morning. Emma couldn't breathe. The room spun. He's out there. Right now. He knows where I work. Where I live. Oh God, my apartment. Luna and Bear already went to your place this morning. Packed your essentials. Your landlord's been notified that you're breaking your lease due to safety concerns. Hawk pulled out his phone, showed her photos. This is what they found on your door. The images made Emma's stomach turn. Spray paint. Red letters 3 feet high. Dead bitch. Whore. You're mine. Jesus. Emma pressed her hands to her mouth. He did that before he got arrested. Either that or he sent someone to do it after. Hawk swiped to another photo. Your car's front window, smashed. Seats slashed. My car. Emma's voice rose. But it was here, at the clubhouse. How did he... He didn't. Ace joined them, his phone still in his hand. Just got off with Rodriguez. They checked security footage from your apartment building. 3 men showed up around 2 in the morning, vandalized your door, then broke into the parking garage and destroyed your car. Marcus's friends. Emma felt tears building behind her eyes. Tyler, Jason, and Brad. They've always had his back. Not anymore, they don't. Hawk's voice went cold. Rodriguez picked them up an hour ago. Destruction of property, vandalism, violation of the restraining order by proxy. They're looking at serious charges. But Marcus is still out there. Emma's hands wouldn't stop shaking. He's going to kill me. You don't understand. He said it last night. He said he'd kill me if I ever left him. Then he's going to have to go through all of us first. Ace's voice was absolute. You're under club protection now. That means Marcus and anyone who helps him just painted a target on their own backs. Emma looked between them. Why? Why would you do this for me? You don't know me. This isn't your fight. Hawk set down his coffee cup with deliberate care. My sister's name was Sarah. She was 23 years old. Beautiful, smart, funny. She fell in love with a man named Derek Chen. Emma heard the past tense. Felt dread pooling in her stomach. Derek was charming at first, swept her off her feet. By the time she realized what he was, it was too late. He isolated her from family friends, controlled every aspect of her life. Hawk's jaw tightened. She tried to leave him 4 times. He found her every time, put her in the hospital twice. Hawk, Ace started, but Hawk held up a hand. She needs to hear this. He turned to Emma, and his eyes were haunted. The 5th time she left, Sarah came to me. Asked for help. I was just back from my 2nd tour in Afghanistan. Young, stupid, thought I could handle it myself. Emma already knew how this story ended. She could hear it in the careful way Hawk was breathing, in the tension radiating from Ace's posture. I told her to file a restraining order, helped her get an apartment across town, thought that would be enough. Hawk's voice went flat. Derek found her 3 weeks later, beat her to death with his bare hands. Neighbors heard her screaming, called the cops. By the time they got there, it was over. I'm sorry, Emma whispered. Don't be sorry. Be smart. Hawk met her eyes. Sarah died because I didn't understand how dangerous men like Derek really are. How they see women as property instead of people. I won't make that mistake again. One of the men playing pool approached, huge, easily 6'6", with a shaved head and a beard that reached his chest. His patch said Sergeant at Arms, and his name patch read Ghost. Just got word from our contact at the courthouse, Ghost said. Marcus's lawyer filed a motion to reduce the restraining order restrictions. Claims Emma's accusations are exaggerated. Wants the judge to allow Marcus to go to work, which happens to be 6 blocks from Miller's diner. Like hell, Hawk stood. Emma, you still have Rodriguez's card. Emma nodded, pulled it from her pocket. Call him. Tell him everything. Every threat, every message, every time Marcus showed up where he shouldn't be. We need documentation for when this goes to trial. Trial? Emma's voice cracked. I thought last night you said he was looking at serious time. He is, if we can keep him locked up until trial. Ace crossed his arms. But his lawyer's going to fight every charge. Claim you're lying. Say you provoked him. They'll drag your name through the mud to protect him. I know. Emma had known this part was coming. His lawyer already tried that during the restraining order hearing. Called me unstable. Said I was making it up for attention. Then we make damn sure the evidence speaks for itself. Hawk pulled out his phone. I'm calling my buddy Mike. He's a private investigator. Specializes in domestic violence cases. He'll document everything, your injuries, the property damage, Marcus's history. Over the next hour, Emma's borrowed room transformed into a command center. Mike arrived with cameras and recording equipment. He photographed her bruises from every angle, took statements, compiled a timeline of Marcus's abuse going back 18 months. This is good, Mike said, reviewing his notes. Very good. With the police reports, witness statements, and physical evidence, we've got a strong case. Strong enough to keep him locked up? Emma asked. Mike's expression was sympathetic. I won't lie to you. The system's broken when it comes to domestic violence. Guys like Marcus know how to work it. Good lawyer, clean record. Except for this, claims it was a one-time mistake. Some judges buy that. So he might get away with it. Not if we're thorough. Mike closed his notebook. I'm going to dig into Marcus's background. Past relationships, police calls to his address, anything that shows a pattern. Sometimes there are other victims who are too scared to come forward. After Mike left, Emma sat on the edge of her bed, exhausted despite having been awake only a few hours. Luna appeared with lunch sandwiches from a local deli. You need to eat, Luna said. I know you don't want to. Eat anyway. Emma took a bite of turkey and Swiss, chewed mechanically. Can I ask you something? Anything. Your guy, the one who hurt you. Did he ever find you? After you came here? Luna was quiet for a long moment. He tried. Showed up at the clubhouse gate about 3 weeks after I moved in. Screaming. Making threats. Demanding they hand me over. What happened? Ghost happened. Luna smiled grimly. Explained very clearly that I was under club protection. That if he ever came back, they'd make sure he regretted it. He left. Never came back. Marcus won't give up that easy. No. Luna agreed. Guys like Marcus never do. That's why we're prepared. The afternoon dragged on. Emma tried to rest but couldn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. Every motorcycle engine had her heart racing. She checked her phone obsessively, even though she'd changed her number that morning. At 4:30, Hawk knocked on her door. "Got a minute?" Emma followed him to the main room. Ace was there along with Ghost and 3 other men she hadn't met. They stood in a semicircle, their expressions serious. "Emma, this is Bear, our treasurer. Smoke, our road captain. And Jax, one of our senior members." Hawk gestured to each man in turn. "We need to discuss club security and your safety." "Okay." Emma's voice was small. Ace stepped forward. "Marcus called the clubhouse an hour ago. Left a message on our main line." Emma's blood turned to ice. "What did he say?" "Nothing we're going to repeat to you." Ghost's voice was hard. "But the gist was that he knows you're here. He's coming for you, and we can't stop him." "He's escalating," Bear added. The big man looked more like a banker than a biker with his wire-rimmed glasses and neat beard. Textbook pattern. First the threats, then the violence, now the public challenges. He's trying to force a confrontation. "So what do we do?" Emma asked. "We make sure he doesn't get within 100 yards of you." Smoke pulled out a tablet, showed Emma a map. "The clubhouse has 3 layers of security. Outer perimeter with cameras and motion sensors. Middle perimeter with the fence and gate. Inner perimeter, which is the building itself. No one gets through all 3 without us knowing. What if he brings more people? More than just his 3 friends. Then we're ready for that too." Jack spoke for the first time. He was younger than the others, maybe 30, with intense dark eyes. "We've got 30 active members in Thunder Valley. Another 20 in allied chapters who'll come if we call. Marcus brings an army, we'll match it. I don't want anyone getting hurt because of me." Emma's voice broke. "Maybe I should just leave, go to another state, change my name, start over." "Running doesn't work." Luna had appeared from the hallway. "They always find you. Trust me, I tried." She moved to stand beside Emma. "The only way to stop men like Marcus is to stand your ground and make them face consequences." "She's right," Ace said. "We've dealt with situations like this before. The key is documentation and prosecution. We keep you safe while the legal system does its job." "And if the legal system fails?" Emma asked quietly. The men exchanged glances. Hawk's expression was grim. "Then we handle it our way." Emma wanted to ask what that meant, but something in Hawk's tone told her she didn't want to know. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Emma's hand trembled as she answered. "Hello." "Emma Rodriguez." An official-sounding voice. "This is Detective Morrison with the Metro PD. I need you to come down to the station to answer some questions." "Questions about what?" I gave my statement last night. "New information has come to light regarding your allegations against Marcus Reed. We need to clarify a few things." Emma looked at Hawk. He held out his hand for the phone. She gave it to him. "This is Raven Harrison. I was the witness at the scene." "What new information?" Hawk's voice was hard. Emma couldn't hear the detective's response, but she watched Hawk's expression darken. "That's bullshit and you know it. Check the security footage." Pause. "No, she's not coming down there without a lawyer present." Another pause. "Because you're fishing Morrison. Marcus's lawyer got to you." Hawk ended the call. "What did he say?" Emma asked. "Marcus is claiming you attacked him. Says he was defending himself. His lawyer's trying to flip the charges." Hawk handed back her phone. "Don't talk to any cops without a lawyer present. Not even Rodriguez." "But I didn't attack him." Emma's voice rose. "He grabbed me. He was choking me." "We know that. The security footage proves it. But Marcus's lawyer is going to try every trick in the book to muddy the waters." Ace pulled out his phone. "I'm calling Janet. She's the best defense attorney in the state. Specializes in domestic violence cases." "I can't afford a lawyer like that," Emma protested. "Club has a legal fund for situations exactly like this," Bear said. "Money's not an issue." Over the next 2 hours, Emma told her story 3 more times, once to Janet, the lawyer, once to a victim's advocate named Sarah, and once to a detective from Internal Affairs who was investigating Morrison's handling of the case. By the time darkness fell, Emma was wrung out, exhausted, ready to crawl into bed and sleep for a week, but sleep wouldn't come. She lay in the borrowed bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the clubhouse. Low voices, motorcycle engines, the clink of pool balls. Normal sounds, safe sounds. Except Emma didn't feel safe. She felt like a rabbit in a trap waiting for the hunter to return. Around midnight, she gave up on sleep and wandered into the main room. Only a few people remained Ghost at the bar, nursing a beer, and Hawk in the corner working on a laptop. "Can't sleep?" Ghost asked. "Every time I close my eyes, I see Marcus's face." Emma accepted the water Ghost offered. "How long before the trial?" "Could be months, maybe a year." Ghost's expression was sympathetic. "I know that's not what you want to hear." "A year of looking over my shoulder. A year of wondering if today's the day he shows up. Or a year of healing and getting stronger." Hawk closed his laptop. "You're thinking about this wrong, Emma. Marcus doesn't get to control your life anymore. You took that power back the moment you called the cops." "Did I? Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like I traded one prison for another. His apartment for this clubhouse. His control for your protection." Emma's voice cracked. "I'm still not free." Hawk moved closer. "You're right. You're not free. Not yet. But you will be. Sarah never got that chance. You do." "What if I mess it up? What if I'm not strong enough?" "Then we'll be here to catch you." Hawk's voice was gentle. "That's what family does." "I'm not your family." "Aren't you?" Ghost gestured around the room. "Luna considers you a sister. The club voted to protect you. We're invested now. Whether you like it or not, you're part of Thunder Valley." Emma didn't know what to say to that. These people, these strangers, had welcomed her without question, had opened their home, had put themselves between her and Marcus. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." "Pay it forward someday," Hawk said. "When you're on your feet again, when you're strong, help someone else the way we helped you." Emma nodded, not trusting her voice. The next 5 days passed in a blur. Emma stayed at the clubhouse, barely leaving her room except for meals and meetings with Janet the lawyer. Marcus violated the restraining order twice more, once showing up at Miller's Diner, demanding to know where Emma was, once calling Emma's mother in Ohio and threatening her if she didn't reveal Emma's location. Each violation meant more charges, more evidence, more ammunition for the prosecution. But it also meant Marcus was getting more desperate, more dangerous. On the 6th day, Emma's phone rang. Unknown number again. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Emma, it's Mike, the private investigator. Did you find something?" 3 other women, 3 other girlfriends who Marcus abused. 1 in college, 2 after. None of them pressed charges, but they're willing to testify if it goes to trial. Emma felt something shift in her chest. Relief mixed with rage. 3 others. Jesus, how did he get away with it for so long? Same way they all do. Charm, manipulation, threats. But now we've got a pattern. Janet's filing a motion to include their testimony as evidence of Marcus's history. "That's good, right?" "That's very good." Mike paused. "There's something else. One of the women, Jessica Turner, she wants to talk to you. Says it might help. Both of you." Emma thought about it. "Okay, when?" "Tomorrow afternoon. She's driving down from Portland. Luna suggested you meet here at the clubhouse. Safe territory." The next afternoon, Emma sat in the clubhouse's small meeting room, her hands wrapped around a coffee cup. Luna sat beside her, a quiet, supportive presence. The door opened. A woman entered, late 20s, blonde, pretty, despite the haunted look in her eyes. She saw Emma and stopped. "You look like I felt 6 years ago," Jessica said quietly. Emma stood. "Thank you for coming, for agreeing to testify." "I should have done it years ago." Jessica sat down across from them. "Maybe if I had, you wouldn't be sitting here now." "It's not your fault," Luna said firmly. "The only person responsible for Marcus's actions is Marcus." For the next 2 hours, the 3 women talked, shared stories, cried together, found strength in their shared experience. He told me the same thing, Jessica said at one point, that I was nothing without him, that no one would ever love me like he did. I believed him for so long. Me too, Emma admitted. Even now, part of me wonders if I'm overreacting, if I somehow caused this. That's the abuse talking. Luna's voice was steady. They get in your head, make you doubt reality. But you didn't cause this, Emma. You didn't deserve any of it. As the sun set, Jessica prepared to leave. She hugged Emma at the door. Stay strong. Don't let him win. I won't, Emma promised. But that night, doubt crept back in. Emma lay awake, staring at shadows on the ceiling, wondering if she had the strength to see this through. Wondering if Marcus would ever truly let her go. Around 3 in the morning, her phone buzzed. Text message from Marcus's number. I know where you are. I know who you're with. This isn't over, Emma. It'll never be over. You're mine until I say you're not. Emma's hands shook as she read it. She should ignore it. Block the number. Tell Hawk in the morning. Instead, she found herself typing a response. I'm not yours. I never was. And you're going to prison. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. The response came immediately. We'll see about that, bitch. Then check your email. Emma's heart pounded as she opened her email. One new message. No subject line. She clicked it. Photos loaded. Her stomach dropped. Pictures of her mother's house in Ohio, her sister's apartment in Denver, her best friend Kelly's workplace. The message was clear: I can reach anyone you love. Emma's phone slipped from her fingers. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Marcus wasn't just threatening her anymore. He was threatening everyone she cared about. She grabbed her phone, stumbled out of her room. The clubhouse was quiet dark. Only one light on in the bar area. Hawk sat there, still awake, still dressed. He looked up when Emma appeared. What's wrong? Emma couldn't speak, just handed him her phone. She watched his expression change as he read the messages, saw the photos. His jaw tightened. His eyes went cold. When did you get these? 5 minutes ago. Hawk was already dialing. Ghost, wake up. We've got a situation. Pause. Marcus sent photos of Emma's family. He's escalating faster than we thought. Another pause. Yeah. Call everyone. Emergency meeting in 20 minutes. Emma sank onto a bar stool. I have to leave. Go somewhere he can't find me. If I stay, he'll hurt people to get to me. If you run, he wins. Hawk set down his phone. And he still might hurt people anyway. Men like Marcus don't stop because their victim disappears. They find someone else to hurt. So what do I do? You let us handle this. Hawk's voice was absolute. Starting right now. Within 30 minutes, the clubhouse filled with members. Ace, Ghost Bear, Smoke Jacks, and a dozen others Emma didn't know. They gathered in the main room, their faces grim. Hawk showed them the messages, the photos. He's crossed a line, Ace said, threatening family members who aren't even involved. We need to end this, Ghost added, before someone gets hurt. Within the law, Hawk said firmly. We do this right, document everything. Forward the messages to Rodriguez and Janet. Let the system work. And if the system doesn't work fast enough, Bear asked. Hawk's expression was cold. Then we make sure Marcus understands that threatening Thunder Valley's family is the last mistake he'll ever make. Emma watched them, these men who'd taken her in. They weren't talking about violence for violence's sake. They were talking about protection, about drawing a line and defending it. I need to call my mother, Emma said suddenly. Warn her. Already done. Luna appeared from the hallway, phone in hand. Called her 10 minutes ago. She's filing a police report in Ohio. Same with your sister in Denver. Kelly. Ghost is driving to her place right now to explain the situation. Luna squeezed Emma's shoulder. You're not alone in this. The meeting continued for another hour. They developed a plan, increased security at the clubhouse, surveillance on Marcus's known locations. Coordination with police to document every violation. As dawn broke, Emma stood at her bedroom window watching the sky lighten. She was exhausted, but couldn't sleep. Too wired. Too scared. Someone knocked. Hawk entered carrying 2 coffee cups. Thought you might need this. He handed her one. They stood in silence for a moment, drinking coffee, watching the sunrise. "My sister Sarah," Hawk said finally. "The night she died, she called me. 3 in the morning. Scared. Said Derek was outside her apartment screaming threats. I told her to call the cops. Said I'd come first thing in the morning." His voice went rough. "I should have gone right then. Should have known morning would be too late." "Hawk, I won't make that mistake twice." He turned to face her. "Whatever it takes, Emma. We keep you safe. All of us. That's not just club business. That's personal." Emma felt tears building. "I don't want to be anyone's burden." "You're not a burden. You're family." Hawk's voice was gentle. "And family protects family." Outside, more motorcycles rumbled to life. The club was mobilizing, preparing. And somewhere out there, Marcus was planning his next move. But this time, Emma wouldn't face him alone. This time, she had an army at her back. The next 72 hours tested every ounce of courage Emma had left. Marcus called the clubhouse phone 37 times. He showed up at Miller's Diner twice more, forcing the owner to ban him and call the police. He sent flowers to Emma's mother's house with a card that read, "Soon." Each incident added to the growing pile of evidence, but it also proved that Marcus was spiraling out of control. On the 4th morning, Emma sat in Janet's office downtown Ghost and Hawk, flanking her like bodyguards. The lawyer shuffled through papers, her expression tight. "The good news is, we have an airtight case," Janet said. "Marcus has violated the restraining order 11 times in 9 days. We have documentation, witnesses, physical evidence. The DA is pushing for maximum sentencing." "What's the bad news?" Emma asked, though she already knew. "The trial date got pushed back. Judge Hamilton's calendar is packed. We're looking at 8 to 10 months before this goes to court." Emma's stomach dropped. 10 months of this, unless Marcus does something stupid enough to get his bail revoked. Janet leaned forward. "Which, given his pattern, is entirely possible. We just need to be patient and document everything." "Patient?" Emma laughed bitterly. "He's threatening my family, my friends. How am I supposed to be patient?" "By staying alive long enough to see him convicted." Janet's voice was firm but kind. "I know it's hard, but the system works if we let it." After the meeting, Hawk drove Emma back to the clubhouse in his truck. Ghost followed on his bike, part of the security rotation they'd implemented. No one went anywhere alone anymore. "You're quiet," Hawk said. Emma stared out the window. "I keep thinking about what happens after. After the trial. After Marcus goes to prison. Do I just go back to my life? Pretend none of this happened? You build a new life. Better than the old one." Hawk glanced at her. "That's what survivors do. They survive. Then they rebuild." "Is that what you did after Sarah?" Hawk was quiet for a long moment. "Took me 5 years to stop blaming myself. Another 3 to figure out how to turn that pain into something useful. Started volunteering at domestic violence shelters, helping women escape situations like Sarah's. Eventually started the protection program with the club." "How many women have you helped?" 43, not counting you." Emma turned to look at him. 43. Some stayed a few days, some stayed months. A few, like Luna, never left. Found family here. Hawk pulled into the clubhouse driveway. "Point is, you're not alone in this. And what you're going through right now, it ends. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but it ends." Inside, Luna was teaching a self-defense class in the converted garage space. 6 women ranging from early 20s to late 50s practiced escape techniques. Emma recognized 2 of them from the support group meeting she'd attended 3 days ago. "Emma," one of the younger women, Ashley, waved. "Come join us." Emma hesitated, but Luna gestured her over. "Perfect timing. I need a volunteer to demonstrate something." For the next hour, Emma learned how to break holds, target vulnerable points, use her voice as a weapon. It felt good to fight back even in practice, to feel strong instead of helpless. "Remember," Luna said as the class wrapped up, "the goal isn't to win a fight, it's to create an opening and escape. Your safety is always the priority. As the other women left, Ashley approached Emma. Can I talk to you for a second? Sure. Ashley twisted her hands together nervously. My boyfriend Ryan, he's been getting worse. Nothing physical yet, just yelling and controlling stuff. But after hearing your story at the support group, I realized I'm seeing the same patterns. Emma felt something shift in her chest. What are you going to do? I'm leaving. Tomorrow. Luna's helping me find a place. Ashley's eyes filled with tears. I'm terrified. But watching you stand up to Marcus even when he keeps coming after you, it made me realize I don't have to wait until it gets worse. I can leave now. Good. Emma surprised herself by hugging the younger woman. That's so smart. Don't wait like I did. After Ashley left, Luna pulled Emma aside. You did good today. I didn't do anything. You shared your story. You let her see that leaving is possible. That's huge, Emma. Luna squeezed her arm. That's the kind of thing that saves lives. That evening, Emma sat in the common room with a group of club members and their families. Someone had ordered pizza, and kids ran around playing while adults talked and laughed. It felt surreal, this slice of normalcy in the middle of chaos. Bear's wife Michelle sat beside Emma. Luna told me you used to work at Miller's Diner. For 3 years, best tips in town. Emma managed to smile. I miss it sometimes. The routine, knowing what each day would bring. What did you like most about it? Emma thought about it. The regulars. There was this older couple married 62 years came in every Tuesday for pancakes. And Tommy, a truck driver who always ordered the meatloaf and told terrible jokes. Just normal people living normal lives. You'll have that again, Michelle said. Different job, different people, but you'll have normal again. I hope so. Emma's phone buzzed. She tensed automatically, but it was just Rodriguez. Need you to come to the station tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bring your lawyer. Important update. Emma showed the text to Hawk. He read it, frowned. Could be good news or bad. We'll go together. That night, Emma dreamed of Marcus. He was chasing her through endless corridors, his voice echoing off walls. You can't hide forever, Emma. I'll always find you. She woke, gasping, drenched in sweat. Luna appeared in her doorway minutes later. Heard you from my room. Nightmares. Emma nodded, not trusting her voice. They'll get better, eventually. Luna sat on the edge of the bed. My therapist taught me something. When you wake up from a nightmare, you say out loud 5 things that are true right now. Grounds you in reality. Like what? Like I'm safe. I'm in the clubhouse. People who care about me are nearby. The door is locked. I survived. Luna's voice was gentle. Try it. Emma took a shaky breath. I'm safe. I'm in the clubhouse. Marcus isn't here. Hawk and Luna are nearby. I survived. See, reality is better than the nightmare. The next morning, Emma walked into the police station with Janet and Hawk flanking her. Rodriguez met them in the lobby, his expression serious. Thanks for coming on short notice. Follow me. He led them to a conference room where Detective Morrison waited, the man who'd tried to flip the charges on Emma. Emma's guard went up immediately. Ms. Rodriguez, Morrison said, I owe you an apology. Emma blinked. What? I was wrong. About you. About Marcus. Morrison looked genuinely remorseful. His lawyer convinced me you were exaggerating, that Marcus was the real victim. I should have looked deeper before calling you in for questioning. What changed your mind? Janet asked coolly. Rodriguez pulled out a tablet, turned it toward them. Security footage from Marcus's apartment building, from last night. Emma watched the video. Marcus stumbling drunk into his apartment lobby, screaming at the night security guard, throwing a punch that connected with the guard's jaw. 2 other men rushing in to restrain him. Marcus assaulted a security guard. Emma felt sick. Gets worse. Rodriguez swiped to another video. This is from his ex-girlfriend Jessica Turner's building in Portland. Marcus drove up there yesterday. The second video showed Marcus pounding on Jessica's door, screaming threats. Jessica's neighbor, an elderly man, came out to tell him to leave. Marcus shoved him hard enough that the old man fell. Is he okay? Emma asked. The neighbor is broken hip, in surgery now. Morrison's jaw was tight. Marcus fled the scene. Portland PD issued a warrant for his arrest. Assault battery violation of a restraining order. Jessica had one against him from 6 years ago that was still technically active. So you're going to arrest him? Emma's heart pounded. Already did. Picked him up an hour ago trying to board a bus to Canada. Rodriguez leaned forward. He's done, Emma. Between the new charges, the video evidence, and violating bail conditions, no judge is letting him walk this time. Emma felt something break loose in her chest. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. How long? Hawk asked. How long before trial? DA's fast-tracking it. Given the new charges and the flight risk, we're looking at 60 days max. Morrison stood. And Ms. Rodriguez again, I apologize. I should have believed you from the start. Outside the station, Emma stood in the parking lot, breathing in the crisp air. 60 days. Just 60 days until this nightmare was truly over. You okay? Hawk asked. I don't know. Emma's voice shook. I thought I'd feel happy, relieved, but I just feel empty. That's normal. You've been running on adrenaline for 2 weeks. Now that the immediate threat is contained, you're crashing. Hawk guided her toward his truck. Let yourself feel it. All of it. That's part of healing. The ride back to the clubhouse was quiet. Emma stared out the window, processing everything. Marcus was in jail. He was going to stay in jail. She was safe. But safety felt strange. Foreign. Like a language she'd forgotten how to speak. At the clubhouse, Ace was waiting with unexpected news. Emma, I got a call from Miller's Diner. The owner Tom wants to know if you're interested in coming back to work. Says you were his best server and the customers miss you. Emma's first instinct was to say no. To hide here where it was safe. But then she thought about Ashley, about being brave enough to rebuild. Can I think about it? Take all the time you need. Ace smiled. Just know that if you want to go back, we'll make sure you're protected. Someone will drive you to and from work. Someone will be there during your shifts. You won't be alone. That evening, Emma sat with Luna in the small meeting room they used for support group sessions. 3 other women had joined them. Ashley, a woman named Carla, whose husband was in jail for domestic violence, and Maria, whose boyfriend had been arrested for stalking. How do you do it? Maria asked Emma. Keep going after everything he put you through. Emma thought about it. Honestly, some days I don't know. Some days I wake up and the fear is so big I can barely breathe. But then I remember that staying afraid means Marcus still wins, even from jail. That's powerful, Carla said softly. Someone told me recently that survivors do 2 things: they survive and then they rebuild. Emma glanced at Luna. I'm still in the surviving stage, but I'm starting to think about rebuilding. What does that look like for you? Ashley asked. Going back to work, maybe. Getting my own apartment eventually. Learning to trust people again. Emma's voice grew stronger. Not letting what Marcus did define the rest of my life. After the meeting, Hawk found Emma in the kitchen making tea. Heard you killed it in there. Luna did most of the talking. That's not what Luna says. Hawk poured himself coffee. She says you're a natural, that the women respond to you because you're living proof that it gets better. Emma wrapped her hands around her mug. Does it get better? Yeah, it does. Hawk's voice was certain. Slowly, painfully, but yeah. How long before I stop jumping every time someone walks up behind me? Took me about 2 years, but everyone's different. Emma sipped her tea. I think I want to go back to Miller's Diner. Not yet, but soon. I need to prove to myself that Marcus doesn't get to take that away from me too. That's brave. Or stupid. Same thing sometimes. Hawk smiled slightly. When you're ready, we'll make it happen safely. The next week passed in a strange limbo. Marcus remained in jail, his bail revoked. The DA's office called daily with updates. They were building their case, interviewing witnesses, compiling evidence. Jessica Turner agreed to testify. The other 2 ex-girlfriends Mike had found also signed on. Emma started working with a therapist, Dr. Chen, who specialized in trauma. The sessions were hard, dredging up memories Emma had tried to bury. But Dr. Chen was patient, never pushing faster than Emma could handle. Healing isn't linear, Dr. Chen explained during their third session. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days the fear will come roaring back. Both are normal. Both are part of the process. When does it stop hurting? Emma asked. It doesn't stop. It changes. The hurt transforms into something else. Strength, wisdom, empathy. But the memory of pain that stays, it just stops controlling you. On her 10th day at the clubhouse, Emma made a decision. She called Tom at Miller's Diner. I want to come back. Not full-time yet. Maybe just weekend breakfast shifts to start. Tom's relief was audible. Emma, that's wonderful. When can you start? This Saturday. Perfect. I'll put you on the schedule. Saturday morning came with a mix of terror and determination. Emma dressed in her uniform, the same one she'd worn the night Marcus attacked her, now cleaned and mended. Luna and Hawk insisted on driving her. We'll be at the counter the whole shift, Luna promised. Ghost and Bear are already there setting up at different tables. You'll have eyes on you the entire time. Miller's Diner looked exactly the same. The familiar smell of coffee and bacon hit Emma as she walked in. Tom appeared immediately, his weathered face breaking into a genuine smile. Welcome back, kiddo. You ready? As I'll ever be. The breakfast rush started within minutes. Emma fell into the familiar rhythm, taking orders, delivering food, refilling coffee. Her hands shook at first, but muscle memory took over. This she knew. This she could do. An older couple at table 6, the Hendersons, married 62 years, looked up when Emma approached with their usual pancakes. Emma. Mrs. Henderson reached out to squeeze her hand. Tom told us what happened. We're so glad you're okay. Thank you. Emma's throat tightened. I missed your Tuesday visits. This is Saturday, Mr. Henderson said with a twinkle in his eye, but we heard you were working today, so we came special. Tommy, the truck driver, was at the counter, same as always. Hey, Emma. Heard you took an unexpected vacation. You back for good? Working on it, Tommy. Good. Nobody makes meatloaf like you ask the cook to. He grinned. Also, I got a new joke. What do you call a bear with no teeth? Emma played along. What? A gummy bear. Tommy laughed at his own joke. It was terrible. It was perfect. It was normal. Halfway through her shift, the door opened, and Emma's blood froze. A man walked in, tall, dark-haired, similar build to Marcus. Her breath caught. Her vision tunneled. Then the man turned. It wasn't Marcus, just a stranger who happened to look similar. Hawk was beside her instantly. You okay? Emma nodded, though her hands trembled. Thought I saw, but it wasn't him. He's in jail, Emma. He can't hurt you. I know. My brain knows, but my body doesn't believe it yet. That'll take time. Hawk guided her to the back room. Take 5 minutes. Breathe. Luna's covering your tables. Emma sat in the small employee break room practicing the breathing exercises Dr. Chen had taught her. In for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4. Slowly, her heartbeat returned to normal. She could do this. She was doing this. By the end of her shift, Emma felt exhausted but triumphant. She'd survived 6 hours on her feet, dozens of customers, and 1 panic attack. That was progress. Tom pulled her aside before she left. You did great today. Better than great. You sure you only want weekends? For now. I need to ease back into it. Fair enough. Tom smiled. Your regulars missed you. Place isn't the same without you. In Hawk's truck on the ride back, Emma felt something she hadn't felt in months. Pride. She'd faced her fear and won. You're smiling, Luna observed from the back seat. I worked a shift, a whole shift, and I didn't fall apart. Told you, Hawk said. Rebuilding. That night, Emma called her mother in Ohio. They'd been talking daily since the threat started, but this call felt different. Mom, I went back to work today. Oh, honey, that's wonderful. Her mother's voice filled with emotion. How did it go? Hard, scary, but good. Emma curled up on her bed. I think I'm going to be okay, Mom. It's going to take time, but I think I'm going to be okay. Of course you are. You're stronger than you know. Her mother paused. I'm proud of you, Emma. So proud. After they hung up, Emma sat in the quiet of her room. Outside, motorcycles rumbled. Voices drifted from the common room, laughter, easy conversation. The sounds of family. She thought about Ashley, who'd successfully moved out and was starting fresh. About Jessica Turner, who'd finally gotten justice after 6 years. About Luna, who'd transformed her trauma into purpose. Maybe that's what survivors did. Maybe they took their broken pieces and built something new. Something stronger. Emma pulled out her phone and opened her notes app. Started typing. Things I want to do when this is over. 1. Get my own apartment. 2. Go back to school, maybe become a counselor. 3. Help other women like the club helped me. 4. Learn to ride a motorcycle. 5. Stop being afraid. She stared at the last item, crossed it out, wrote something else. 5. Accept that fear is normal and do brave things anyway. Better. 3 days later, Janet called with news. The DA had offered Marcus a plea deal, 15 years with possibility of parole after 10. He'd refused, insisting on his innocence, demanding a trial. Is that bad? Emma asked. It's risky for him, Janet explained. With the evidence we have, he's looking at 25 to 30 years if convicted at trial. But it means we have to go through with it. You'll have to testify. Emma felt her stomach drop. I'll have to see him. In court, yes. But you'll be protected. He'll be in restraints, and I'll be right there with you. When? Trial starts in 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 42 days. Then Emma would have to face Marcus across a courtroom and tell the world what he'd done to her. The fear threatened to swallow her whole, but then she remembered her list. Accept that fear is normal and do brave things anyway. Okay, Emma said. I'll do it. You're sure? No, but I'll do it anyway. Over the next few weeks, Emma prepared for trial. Janet walked her through what to expect, the questions, the defense attorney's tactics, the courtroom layout. They practiced Emma's testimony over and over until she could recite her story without breaking down. The support group meetings grew. More women joined, drawn by word of mouth and the club's reputation for protection. Emma found herself sharing her story repeatedly, each time feeling a little less broken by it. You're becoming a leader, Luna observed after one particularly powerful meeting. The women look up to you. I'm just telling the truth. Exactly. And that's more powerful than you realize. Emma also continued working at Miller's Diner. Her shifts increased from weekends to 3 days a week. The panic attacks became less frequent. She learned to recognize triggers and manage them. Hawk remained a constant presence, driving her to work, sitting at the counter during shifts, walking her through nightmares when they came. Their friendship deepened into something Emma couldn't quite name. Trust, certainly. Gratitude. But also something more. One evening she asked him about it. They were sitting on the clubhouse porch watching the sunset. Why do you do all this? The protection, the support, the middle of the night talks when I can't sleep. Hawk was quiet for a long moment. Because Sarah deserved someone to do it for her, and because you deserve to have people who show up. I don't know how to repay you. You don't repay it. You pay it forward. Hawk turned to look at her. Someday you'll be the one showing up for someone else. That's how this works. Is that what happened with Luna? Luna was the first woman we protected after I joined the club. Watching her transform from terrified victim to the strong person she is now that showed me this was possible. That healing was possible. Hawk's voice grew soft. She gave me hope. Now you're giving hope to Ashley and Maria and all the others. Emma thought about that. About how trauma could transform into purpose. How pain could become power. I want to do more, she said suddenly. After the trial. After Marcus is convicted. I want to help other women the way you and Luna helped me. Then we'll make that happen. Hawk smiled. Thunder Valley could use another voice in the protection program. The night before the trial, Emma couldn't sleep. She paced her room, reviewed her testimony, tried every relaxation technique Dr. Chen had taught her. Nothing worked. At 2 a.m, she gave up and went to the common room. Found Hawk there as usual. Couldn't sleep either, he asked. Tomorrow I have to look him in the eye, have to relive everything he did to me, in front of strangers. Emma's voice shook. What if I freeze? What if I can't do it? Then we'll ask for a recess. You'll collect yourself and you'll try again. Hawk's voice was steady. Emma, you've already done the hard part. You survived. You escaped. You're still here. Testifying is just words. You've got this. What if the jury doesn't believe me? They will, because you're going to tell the truth, and the truth is powerful. Hawk stood, moved closer. And even if something goes wrong, even if the impossible happens and Marcus walks free, you're still not alone. You still have us. He doesn't win unless you stop living your life. Emma felt tears building. I'm so tired of being scared. I know, but tomorrow you get to turn that fear into something else. Justice. You get to look at Marcus and show him that he didn't break you. That's powerful, Emma. That's everything. Emma nodded, not trusting her voice. Get some sleep, Hawk said gently. Tomorrow, we end this. But as Emma returned to her room, she couldn't shake the feeling that tomorrow would bring something none of them expected. Something that would change everything. The courthouse steps felt steeper than they should have been. Emma's legs shook, with each step her hand gripping Hawk's arm so tightly her knuckles had gone white. Luna walked on her other side, a steady presence. Behind them, Ghost Bear and Ace formed a protective wall against the crowd of reporters shouting questions. Ms. Rodriguez, how do you feel about facing your attacker today? Emma, is it true Marcus threatened your family? Are the Hell's Angels involved in witness intimidation? Janet appeared from nowhere, her briefcase raised like a shield. No comments. My client has no statement at this time. Inside the courthouse, the chaos faded to hushed whispers. Emma's heels clicked against marble floors. Each sound felt too loud, too exposed. They passed through security, emptying pockets and bags. The metal detector beeped twice before Emma realized she was still wearing Hawk's leather bracelet, the one he'd given her last week for courage. You can keep it, the security guard said kindly. Not metal enough to matter. They waited in a small room adjacent to the courtroom. Emma sat in a chair that felt too hard, too cold. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Drink this. Luna pressed a bottle of water into her hands. Small sips. Don't make yourself sick. Janet reviewed her notes one final time. Remember, answer only what's asked. Don't elaborate. Don't let the defense attorney bait you into getting emotional. Just tell the truth clearly and calmly. What if I can't? Emma's voice came out barely above a whisper. Then you take a breath and try again. Janet's expression softened. Emma, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've never had a client as prepared as you are. You've got this. A bailiff knocked on the door. They're ready for you. Emma stood on legs that felt like water. Hawk caught her elbow, steadying her. Remember what I told you last night, he said quietly. He doesn't win unless you stop living. Today you show him you're still living. The courtroom was bigger than Emma expected. Rows of wooden benches filled with people, some she recognized, many she didn't. The jury box sat empty, waiting to be filled. And there at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit and restraints sat Marcus. He looked smaller than Emma remembered. Thinner. His hair had grown out unkempt. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. When he saw her, his face twisted into something between a sneer and a plea. Emma's feet stopped moving. I can't, she whispered. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Luna's hand found hers. One step at a time. That's all. Just one step. Emma took that step. Then another. Then another. She didn't look at Marcus again as she moved to her seat behind Janet at the prosecution table. All rise. The Honorable Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. Everyone stood. The judge entered, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. She surveyed the courtroom with the air of someone who'd seen every trick and lie humanity had to offer. You may be seated. Judge Morrison's voice carried authority that made everyone obey instantly. We're here for the trial of the state versus Marcus Reed. Are both counsels ready to proceed? The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The DA, a sharp-faced man named Thomas Wright, stood confidently. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Marcus's lawyer, a slick-looking man named Gregory Stanton, rose with a smile that made Emma's skin crawl. The jury selection took 3 hours. Emma watched as potential jurors were questioned, dismissed, selected. 8 women, 4 men, various ages, backgrounds, expressions. These 12 strangers would decide Marcus's fate. During a recess, Emma used the bathroom. When she came out, Marcus's mother was waiting in the hallway. "You!" the older woman spat. "You did this to my boy." Emma froze. Mrs. Reed looked nothing like the sweet woman who'd made cookies at Christmas 2 years ago. Her face was twisted with anger and grief. "Your lies are destroying his life," Mrs. Reed continued, stepping closer. "Marcus loved you. He gave you everything, and this is how you repay him. Ma'am, step back." Ghost appeared beside Emma, his massive frame blocking Mrs. Reed. "Now." "He's my son." Mrs. Reed's voice broke. "My baby boy, and she's taking him away from me." "Your son is a violent abuser," Ghost said coldly. "The only person who took anything from you is Marcus himself. Now back off before I have you removed." Mrs. Reed fled down the hallway, sobbing. Emma leaned against the wall, her breath coming in gasps. "That woman is a piece of work," Ghost muttered. "Raised a monster and can't admit it." "She really believes him," Emma said wonderingly. "She really thinks I'm lying. Denial's powerful. Let's get you back inside." The trial proper began after lunch. D.A. Wright gave his opening statement outlining the case against Marcus with clinical precision. The restraining order violations, the assault in the parking garage, the threats against Emma's family, the attack on Jessica Turner and her neighbor in Portland. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," Wright concluded, "the evidence will show that Marcus Reed is a dangerous, violent man who refuses to accept that his relationship with Ms. Rodriguez ended. He terrorized her. He threatened her family. He assaulted multiple people. And he did all of this with full knowledge that his actions were illegal. The evidence will prove beyond reasonable doubt that Marcus Reed is guilty of every charge against him." Then Stanton stood for the defense. His smile was warm, practiced, designed to disarm. "My client is not a perfect man," Stanton began. "He made mistakes. He let his emotions get the better of him. But Marcus Reed is not the monster the prosecution wants you to believe. He's a man who loved a woman deeply, who struggled when that relationship ended, and whose actions have been grossly mischaracterized by an overreaching prosecution." Emma's hands clenched into fists. Janet placed a steadying hand on her arm. "The prosecution will show you videos, photographs, text messages," Stanton continued. "But they won't show you context. They won't show you that Ms. Rodriguez herself engaged in behavior designed to provoke my client. They won't tell you that she made false accusations to gain sympathy and attention." "Objection." Wright stood. "Counsel is testifying, not making an opening statement." "Sustained." Judge Morrison's eyes narrowed at Stanton. "Stick to what you intend to prove, Mr. Stanton." The first witness was Sergeant Rodriguez. He testified about the night in the parking garage, about finding Emma with bruises on her throat and Marcus being restrained by Hawk. He walked the jury through the arrest, the evidence collected, the security footage. Stanton's cross-examination was aggressive. "Sergeant Rodriguez, did you actually witness Mr. Reed attack Ms. Rodriguez?" "No, but..." "Simple yes or no, please. You didn't see the initial contact." "No." "So you have no first-hand knowledge of who started the physical altercation?" "The security footage clearly shows." "I'll ask the questions, Sergeant. You just answer them." Stanton's smile never wavered. "Isn't it possible Ms. Rodriguez provoked my client that he was defending himself?" "Absolutely not. The evidence..." "Thank you, Sergeant. No further questions." The next witness was the hospital ER doctor who'd treated Emma's injuries. Dr. Sarah Kim testified about the bruising pattern on Emma's throat, consistent with manual strangulation, about the minor concussion from her head hitting the concrete pillar, about Emma's elevated heart rate and clear signs of trauma. "In your professional opinion, Dr. Kim, were these injuries self-inflicted?" "No, impossible. The bruising pattern, the location, the severity, these were caused by another person's hands around Ms. Rodriguez's throat." Stanton tried to poke holes during cross-examination, but Dr. Kim stood firm. Medical evidence didn't lie. Then came Mike, the private investigator. He presented his findings. The 3 other women Marcus had abused, the pattern of escalating violence, the threats against Emma's family members. I interviewed 15 people who knew Marcus Reed, Mike testified. 14 of them described him as controlling, possessive, and volatile. Several witnessed violent outbursts. Objection, hearsay. Stanton stood. Your Honor, these statements establish a pattern of behavior, Wright argued. I'll allow it. Overruled. The afternoon wore on. Witness after witness, each one adding another piece to the puzzle of Marcus's violence. During the final recess, Emma sat in the witness room, her stomach churning. Tomorrow she would testify. Tomorrow she would have to face Marcus and tell the jury everything. You should eat something, Luna said, offering a sandwich. Emma couldn't even look at food. What if I mess up? What if I forget something important? Then Janet will ask follow-up questions. Hawk leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Stop catastrophizing. You know your story because it's your truth. Just tell it. Easier said than done. Nothing about this is easy, Hawk agreed. But you're doing it anyway. That's what matters. That night at the clubhouse, Emma couldn't sleep. She paced her room, rehearsing testimony, imagining worst-case scenarios. Around midnight, she gave up and went to find Hawk. He was in the garage working on his motorcycle. Grease stained his hands and tools lay scattered across the workbench. Can't sleep, he asked without looking up. How'd you know it was me? Everyone else is asleep. And you walk different than the others. Lighter steps. Hawk set down his wrench. Want to talk about it? Emma sat on an overturned crate. What if the jury doesn't believe me? They will. How can you be so sure? Because I've sat in that courtroom before, after Sarah died, watched Derek Chen's trial. Hawk's voice went rough. I watched the jury look at the evidence, listen to witnesses, and I saw the moment they decided. It's in their eyes, the shift from uncertainty to conviction. Did Derek go to prison? 25 years. He'll be 72 when he gets out, if he lives that long. Hawk picked up a rag, wiped his hands. That verdict didn't bring Sarah back, but it meant something. It meant the system acknowledged what happened to her, that her death mattered. Is that what I'm supposed to hope for? That Marcus's conviction will mean something? No, you're supposed to hope that it sets you free. Hawk met her eyes. Right now, Marcus still has power over you. He's in your head, in your nightmares, in every flinch when someone moves too fast. A conviction won't erase that overnight, but it's the first step to taking that power back. Emma thought about that, about power and freedom and what justice actually meant. I'm terrified, she admitted. Good. That means you understand how important tomorrow is. Hawk stood, moved closer. But Emma, fear doesn't mean you can't do something. It just means the thing matters. The next morning came too fast. Emma dressed in the clothes Janet had picked out, a simple navy dress, modest and professional. Luna helped with her hair, pulling it back into a neat bun. Minimal makeup to cover the shadows under Emma's eyes, but nothing that looked like she was trying too hard. You look strong, Luna said. Credible, like someone telling the truth. At the courthouse, reporters swarmed again. This time, Emma kept her head up, didn't hide behind Hawk's bulk. Let them see her face. Let them photograph her, walking into the building with confidence she didn't quite feel. The courtroom filled quickly. Emma recognized faces from the support group Ashley, Maria, Carla. They'd all come to watch, to support, to bear witness. The prosecution calls Emma Rodriguez to the stand. Emma stood. Her legs shook, but held. She walked to the witness stand, placed her hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Then she sat. And for the first time since entering the courtroom, she looked directly at Marcus. He stared back. His expression cycled through emotions too fast to name: anger, pleading, contempt, desperation. Emma held his gaze for 3 seconds. Then she looked away. He didn't deserve more than that. D.A. Wright approached with a gentle smile. Ms. Rodriguez, thank you for being here today. I know this is difficult. It is, but I'm ready. Let's start at the beginning. How did you meet Marcus Reed? Emma took a breath and began. She told the jury about meeting Marcus at a friend's barbecue 3 years ago. How charming he'd been. How attentive. The early days when everything felt perfect. When did things change? Wright asked. About 6 months in. Small things at first. He'd get upset if I went out with friends without him. He wanted to know where I was all the time, who I was talking to. Did this behavior escalate? Yes. He started checking my phone, got angry if I didn't respond to texts immediately, accused me of cheating when I was just at work or with my mom. Emma walked the jury through the progression. The first time Marcus grabbed her arm hard enough to bruise. The first time he pushed her. The first time he hit her. I told myself it was my fault, Emma said, her voice steady despite the tears building behind her eyes. That if I just behaved better, if I didn't make him angry, he'd go back to being the man I met. But he didn't. No, it got worse. Wright introduced photographs into evidence Emma's bruises from various incidents over 18 months. Medical records from 2 ER visits. Text messages where Marcus threatened her, called her names, demanded she account for every minute of her day. Ms. Rodriguez, why didn't you leave sooner? Emma had known this question was coming, had prepared for it, but actually answering it in front of all these people felt like opening a wound. Because I was afraid. Because he told me he'd kill me if I left. Because by the time I realized how bad it was, I didn't know how to escape. Emma's voice cracked. And because part of me still believed him when he said I was nothing without him. But you did eventually leave. Yes, 6 weeks before the parking garage incident. I packed a bag while he was at work and went to my friend's apartment, filed for a restraining order the next day. How did Marcus react? He called me 63 times that first night, sent over 100 text messages. When I didn't respond, he showed up at my workplace. Security had to escort him out. Wright pulled up the restraining order on the screen for the jury. Judge Hamilton granted this order on October 3rd. What happened after that? Emma detailed the violations. Every call, every text, every time Marcus showed up where he shouldn't be. The threats against her family. The vandalism of her apartment and car. And then, the night of October 15th, you left work at Miller's Diner. Yes. Tell the jury what happened. Emma's hands gripped the armrests of the witness chair. This was it. The moment she'd been dreading. I was walking to my car in the parking garage. Marcus grabbed me from behind, pulled me between some cars where the cameras couldn't see well. Her voice shook, but she kept going. He put his hands around my throat, squeezed. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to die. Several jurors leaned forward. One woman pressed her hand to her mouth. What happened next? A man appeared. Hawk Raven Harrison. He told Marcus to let me go. And did Marcus comply? No, he squeezed harder, said I belonged to him, that no one could take me from him. Emma felt tears streaming down her face but didn't stop. Then Hawk grabbed Marcus and pulled him off me, held him until the police arrived. Ms. Rodriguez, I want to be very clear. At any point during this encounter, did you threaten or attack Marcus Reed? No, never. I just wanted him to let me go. Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. No further questions. Emma sagged in relief. She'd done it. She'd told her story. But then Stanton stood, and Emma remembered that cross-examination was coming. Ms. Rodriguez, Stanton's voice was smooth, almost friendly. You've painted quite a picture of my client as a monster. But isn't it true that you stayed with him for nearly 3 years? Yes, but yes or no is sufficient. You stayed with him. You continued the relationship despite allegedly being terrified. I was afraid to leave, Emma said firmly. Or perhaps you weren't afraid at all. Perhaps the relationship was mutually volatile. Perhaps you gave as good as you got. Objection. Wright stood. Counsel is testifying again. Withdrawn. Stanton smiled. Ms. Rodriguez, have you ever hit Marcus Reed? Emma froze. She had once during a fight 6 months ago when he'd backed her into a corner. She'd slapped him. He'd broken her wrist in response. Once, she admitted, in self-defense. So you admit to striking my client? After he grabbed me and was screaming in my face, I was defending myself. Interesting definition of self-defense. Stanton pulled out papers. Isn't it true that you texted Marcus first on the night of October 15th? What, no? I haven't initiated contact with him since filing the restraining order. Your Honor, I'd like to enter Defense Exhibit A into evidence. Stanton showed the jury screenshots of text messages. These show Ms. Rodriguez texting my client at 8:45 p.m. on October 15th, saying, "We need to talk." Emma's mind reeled. That's not possible. I never sent that. The phone records show otherwise. Then they're fake. Or Marcus sent them from my phone. Somehow, I don't know, but I didn't send those messages. Judge Morrison's gavel came down. Ms. Rodriguez, please control yourself. Mr. Stanton, do you have authentication for these messages? Phone company records, Your Honor. Time-stamped and verified. Emma looked at Janet in panic. Janet's expression was tight concerned. How was this possible? Wright stood. Your Honor, we need time to examine these records. This is the first we're hearing of these messages. We'll take a 30-minute recess. Judge Morrison's expression was severe. Mr. Stanton, you should have disclosed this evidence during discovery. It only came to light yesterday, Your Honor. My client's technology expert recovered deleted messages from Ms. Rodriguez's phone records. During the recess, chaos erupted in the witness room. Janet paced while on the phone with her own tech expert. Emma sat frozen, trying to understand what had happened. I didn't send those texts, she kept repeating. I swear I didn't. I believe you. Hawk crouched in front of her. But we need to prove it. Think, Emma. Was there any time Marcus had access to your phone? Not since I left him. I changed all my passwords, got a new number. What about your old phone? Luna asked suddenly. The one that broke in the parking garage that night. What happened to it? Emma's eyes widened. It was in my apartment. Marcus knew where I kept my spare key. He could have gotten in, taken the phone, sent messages from it to make it look like I was contacting him. Janet stopped pacing. That's genius, and completely something an abuser would do. We can argue that. When court resumed, Wright made exactly that argument. He pointed out that the messages came from Emma's old phone number, not her new one. That Marcus had opportunity to access that phone. That the timing was suspicious, sent just before Marcus showed up at the parking garage. The tech expert testimony took 2 hours. Numbers, timestamps, cell tower data. It was dry, technical, and ultimately inconclusive. The messages came from Emma's old number, but there was no way to prove who actually sent them. Stanton used the confusion to his advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution wants you to believe my client is some kind of criminal mastermind who stole Ms. Rodriguez's phone and framed himself. Or perhaps the simpler explanation is true. Ms. Rodriguez contacted him, they agreed to meet, things got heated, and now she's trying to avoid responsibility for her role in this situation. Emma's testimony continued for 3 more agonizing hours. Stanton picked apart every statement, questioned every memory, suggested alternative explanations for every incident. By the time Judge Morrison finally dismissed her from the stand, Emma felt wrung out completely. You did great, Janet said as they left the courtroom. He tried to shake you and you held firm. He made me look like a liar. He did his job. Now we do ours. Janet's expression was determined. Tomorrow we bring in Jessica Turner and the other witnesses. We show the jury that Marcus has a pattern, that this wasn't an isolated incident. But Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something had gone terribly wrong. That night's sleep was impossible. Emma lay in bed at the clubhouse, replaying every moment of her testimony, every question Stanton had asked, every doubt he'd planted in the jury's minds. Around 2 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She should have ignored it. Should have deleted it without looking. She looked. You think you're so smart. But I still win. I always win. See you soon, Emma. Her hands shook so badly she dropped the phone. Someone had sent Marcus's threatening message while he was locked up in jail, which meant he had help, someone on the outside willing to continue his campaign of terror. Emma ran to find Hawk. He was awake as always in the common room. Someone sent me a threat, from Marcus, but he's in jail. Emma's voice bordered on hysteria. How is this possible? Hawk read the message, his expression darkening. He immediately called Rodriguez, then Ghost, then Ace. Within 20 minutes, the clubhouse was on full lockdown. We're tracking the number, Rodriguez said over speakerphone. But it's a burner. Probably toss it after sending that one message. Who would do this for him? Emma asked. His friends are in jail too. Family, Hawk said grimly. His mother, his brother. Someone who believes his lies and blames you. The realization hit Emma like a physical blow. This wasn't over. Even if Marcus went to prison, his supporters would continue the harassment. She'd never be truly free. Yes, you will, Hawk said, and Emma realized she'd spoken aloud. Because we're not stopping until every single person involved faces consequences. Marcus, his helpers, anyone who threatens you. The next morning, Emma walked back into that courtroom with renewed determination. She sat through Jessica Turner's powerful testimony about her own abuse at Marcus's hands, watched as the other two ex-girlfriends took the stand and told similar stories, listened as character witnesses described Marcus's controlling behavior, his explosive temper, his inability to accept rejection. The prosecution rested after 3 days of testimony. The defense took only 1 day, Marcus's mother claiming he was a good boy who'd never hurt anyone, a few friends saying Emma was dramatic and attention-seeking, and finally Marcus himself. Emma forced herself to watch as Marcus took the stand. He cried, actually cried, told the jury how much he'd loved Emma, how devastated he was when she left, how he'd made mistakes but never meant to hurt her. I just wanted to talk to her, Marcus said, his voice breaking. To understand why she was throwing away what we had. When I saw her in that parking garage, I wasn't thinking straight. I grabbed her, yes, but I never meant to hurt her. I was just desperate. Emma's stomach turned. He was lying, brazenly lying, and doing it well enough that 2 jurors seemed sympathetic. The trial ended after 2 weeks. Closing arguments took an entire day. Wright methodically walked through every piece of evidence, every testimony, every lie Marcus had told. Stanton painted Marcus as a troubled man who'd made mistakes but didn't deserve to have his life destroyed. Then the jury deliberated. For 3 days, Emma existed in a state of suspended animation. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep properly, couldn't think about anything except those 12 people in a room deciding her future. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, the bailiff called. The jury has reached a verdict. Emma's heart stopped. This was it. The courtroom filled quickly. Emma sat between Janet and Hawk, their presence the only thing keeping her grounded. Marcus was led in shackled, his expression unreadable. Judge Morrison entered. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreman stood, a middle-aged man with kind eyes. We have your honor. On the charge of assault with intent to cause serious bodily harm. How do you find guilty? Emma's breath caught. One juror wiped tears. Marcus's mother sobbed in the gallery. On the charge of violating a restraining order, multiple counts. Guilty on all counts. On the charge of terroristic threatening. Guilty. On the charge of stalking, Beth say guilty. The verdicts continued. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Every single charge. When it ended, Emma couldn't process what she was hearing. Marcus sat stone-faced as the judge thanked the jury and set a sentencing date for 2 weeks later. As the bailiffs led Marcus away, he turned and looked at Emma one final time. His expression held pure hatred. This isn't over, he mouthed. But it was. It finally was. Outside the courthouse, Emma stood in the afternoon sun and breathed freely for the first time in months. She'd done it. She'd faced Marcus in court and won. Sentencing in 2 weeks, Janet said. With his priors and the severity of the charges, I'm pushing for 25 years minimum. 25 years. Marcus would be in his 50s when he got out. Emma would have her entire life to rebuild. That night, the clubhouse threw an impromptu celebration. Nothing fancy, pizza and beer pool games and laughter. But it felt momentous. Emma had fought and won. As the party wound down, Hawk found Emma on the porch. "How you feeling?" "Free," Emma said wonderingly. "Terrified and exhausted and relieved, but free." "Good, that's good," Hawk smiled. "What's next for you?" Emma thought about it. About the future that stretched before her, suddenly full of possibilities instead of fear. "I don't know yet," she admitted. "But I get to decide, and that's everything." The celebration at the clubhouse lasted until nearly midnight, but Emma found herself unable to fully embrace the victory. Something nagged at her, a persistent unease that wouldn't let go. She kept thinking about Marcus's final words in the courtroom. This isn't over. The hatred in his eyes had been absolute consuming. Men like Marcus didn't accept defeat gracefully. The next morning, Emma woke to find Luna already in the kitchen making coffee. Dark circles shadowed the older woman's eyes. "You couldn't sleep either?" Emma asked. Luna handed her a mug. "Had a bad feeling all night, can't shake it." "About Marcus. About his mother. She was at the trial every day glaring at you like you'd personally destroyed her world." Luna sipped her coffee. "Women like that, they don't just accept their sons going to prison. They find ways to blame everyone else." As if summoned by their conversation, Emma's phone rang. Rodriguez's number. "Emma, we've got a situation. Marcus's mother posted your photo on social media last night with your home address, well, your old address, and a message claiming you're a liar who destroyed an innocent man's life." Emma's hand tightened on the phone. "Can you stop her? We're working on it. The post has been shared 47 times already. Some of the comments are threatening. I'm sending a unit to watch her house, but you need to be extra careful." After hanging up, Emma showed the message to Hawk. His jaw tightened. "Ghost is already monitoring social media. We'll know if anyone starts making concrete threats." Hawk's voice was calm, but Emma heard the steel underneath. "In the meantime, you don't go anywhere without security, not even to the bathroom down the hall." The days leading to sentencing were tense. Emma returned to work at Miller's Diner, but now Ghost or Bear sat at the counter every shift. The regulars noticed but didn't ask questions, small-town courtesy at its finest. One afternoon, Mrs. Henderson approached Emma's table with tears in her eyes. "My granddaughter, Katie. She's in a situation like yours was. I didn't know what to tell her until I heard about you standing up in court. I told her your story. She filed a restraining order yesterday." Emma felt something shift in her chest. "Is she safe?" "She's staying with us. Her boyfriend doesn't know where we live." Mrs. Henderson squeezed Emma's hand. "Thank you for being brave. It gave Katie courage she didn't know she had." After Mrs. Henderson left, Emma stood in the diner's kitchen, trying to process the interaction. Her story, her pain had helped someone else. The thought was both humbling and empowering. "You okay?" Tom asked, noticing her distraction. "Yeah, just realizing something." Emma tied her apron tighter. "I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm actually making a difference." That evening, Luna invited Emma to co-lead the support group meeting. 8 women attended, including Ashley Maria and 2 new faces, Katie Henderson, and a woman named Denise, whose husband had been arrested for assault 3 weeks prior. "I wanted Emma to share something tonight," Luna said, "about what comes after the trial, after the conviction, when you're supposed to feel free but somehow still feel trapped." Emma hadn't prepared a speech. She just spoke from her heart. "Winning in court didn't fix me. Marcus got convicted and I thought I'd feel this huge relief, this instant healing, but I didn't. I still have nightmares. I still jump when someone moves too fast. I still check over my shoulder constantly." Emma looked around at the faces watching her. "What I'm learning is that healing isn't a destination. It's a journey. Some days I take 5 steps forward. Some days I take 3 back. But I'm moving. That's what matters." "How do you keep going?" Katie asked softly. "When you're so tired of being afraid." "I remember that staying afraid means he still wins, even from prison." Emma's voice grew stronger. "Marcus took so much from me. my sense of safety, my confidence, my trust. I won't let him take my future too. So, I get up every day and I choose to live. Really live. Not just survive. After the meeting, Denise pulled Emma aside. My husband's sentencing is next month. I'm terrified to testify. I was too. But you know what helped? Emma met Denise's eyes. Remembering that my voice was the one thing he could never take from me. He could hurt me, control me, scare me. But when I stood up in that courtroom and told the truth, that was my power, not his. Denise nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. I needed to hear that. The night before Marcus's sentencing, Emma couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the victim impact statement Janet had helped her prepare. The words felt simultaneously too much and not enough. How could she summarize years of abuse, months of terror, into a 3-minute statement? Around 2 a.m., she gave up on sleep and found Hawk in the garage again, working on a different motorcycle this time. This is becoming a pattern, he said without looking up. You awake at 2 a.m. coming to find me. You're always here. Someone needs to be. Hawk set down his tools. Tomorrow's a big day. I know. I'm ready, I think. Emma sat on the workbench. Can I ask you something? After Sarah's killer was sentenced, did it help? Did it make the pain less? Hawk was quiet for a long moment. It didn't make her death hurt less. Nothing could do that. But it meant something, that the system acknowledged what happened to her, that Derek didn't get away with it. He turned to face Emma. What it really did was give me permission to start healing. Like, okay, justice has been served now. I can focus on moving forward instead of just surviving. That's what I want, permission to move forward. Then take it. Tomorrow you stand up and you tell that judge exactly what Marcus did to you. You take back your power. Then you walk out of that courtroom and you start building the life he tried to destroy. Sentencing day arrived with crystalline clarity. Emma dressed carefully in the same navy dress she'd worn for her testimony. Luna braided her hair, and this time Emma applied her own makeup. She was done hiding. The courtroom was packed. Emma recognized faces from the support group from the diner from the clubhouse. Janet had warned her that Marcus's family would be there too, likely causing a scene. Sure enough, Mrs. Reed sat in the front row with several relatives all glaring daggers at Emma. Judge Morrison called the court to order. We're here for sentencing in the matter of the state versus Marcus Reed. The defendant has been found guilty on all charges. Before I impose sentence, the court will hear victim impact statements. Janet stood. The prosecution calls Emma Rodriguez. Emma walked to the podium on steady legs. She'd been terrified last time. Today, she was determined. Your Honor, members of the court, for 3 years, Marcus Reed controlled every aspect of my life. He decided what I wore, who I saw, where I went. He told me I was worthless, that no one would ever love me like he did, that I needed him to survive. Emma's voice didn't shake. She looked directly at Marcus as she spoke. He hit me for the first time on Valentine's Day 2 years ago. I'd made dinner reservations at the wrong restaurant. He slapped me so hard I fell. Then he cried and apologized and promised it would never happen again. It happened 17 more times. Several jurors from the trial sat in the gallery watching. 2 women were crying. He broke my wrist, gave me a concussion, strangled me until I passed out. Each time he said it was my fault, that I'd provoked him, that if I just behaved better he wouldn't have to hurt me. And I believed him. Marcus stared at the table, refusing to meet her eyes. When I finally found the courage to leave, he stalked me, threatened my family, destroyed my property. And then he tried to kill me in a parking garage because I dared to believe I deserved better than being someone's punching bag. Emma's hands gripped the podium. The physical bruises healed, but the psychological damage he inflicted runs deeper than any scar. He made me afraid of my own shadow. He stole years of my life. He nearly destroyed my ability to trust anyone. Now she looked at Judge Morrison. Your Honor, I'm not standing here asking for revenge. I'm asking for justice, for protection. Not just for me, but for every woman Marcus might hurt in the future. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that men like Marcus don't change. They just find new victims. Emma paused, gathering herself for the final statement. Marcus Reed is dangerous. He's manipulative. He's violent, and he should not be free to hurt anyone else. I'm asking this court to impose the maximum sentence allowed by law. Not because I want vengeance, but because I want other women to be safe from him. Because I want to finally stop looking over my shoulder. Because I deserve to live my life without fear. Thank you. The courtroom was silent as Emma returned to her seat. Janet squeezed her hand. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Jessica Turner spoke next, her victim impact statement equally powerful. Then the DA presented a sentencing recommendation, 30 years with no possibility of parole for 25. Finally, Judge Morrison looked at Marcus. Mr. Reed, do you have anything to say before I impose sentence? Marcus stood. His lawyer tried to stop him, but Marcus shook him off. I loved her. Marcus's voice broke. I loved Emma with everything I had, and she destroyed me. She destroyed my life, my reputation, my future. For what? Because I got emotional, because I made mistakes. Mr. Reed, Judge Morrison's tone was sharp. She's a liar. Marcus's voice rose. She provoked me. She made me crazy, and now I'm supposed to go to prison while she walks free. That's not justice. Mr. Reed, sit down. Judge Morrison's gavel came down hard. I won't sit down. She needs to hear this. Marcus turned to Emma, his face contorted with rage. You think you won. You think this is over. I have people on the outside, people who believe me, people who know you're a liar. And when I get out, I'm going to find you. I swear to God, Emma, I'm going to... 3 bailiffs rushed Marcus, forcing him into his seat. Judge Morrison's gavel slammed down repeatedly. Mr. Reed, you are in contempt of court. Bailiffs, restrain him. Her voice could have cut glass. That outburst just cost you any sympathy I might have had. Emma sat frozen, Marcus's threats echoing in her head. Hawk's hand found hers under the table, solid and reassuring. Judge Morrison composed herself, her expression stern. I've presided over hundreds of domestic violence cases in my 20 years on the bench. I've seen patterns emerge. I've seen men who were genuinely remorseful, who took responsibility, who worked to change. Mr. Reed, you are not one of those men. Marcus struggled against the bailiffs holding him. Your complete lack of remorse, combined with your continued threats against Ms. Rodriguez, even in this courtroom, tells me everything I need to know about the danger you pose. Judge Morrison flipped through her notes. The prosecution recommended 30 years. I'm going to exceed that recommendation. Emma's breath caught. Marcus Reed on the charge of assault, with intent to cause serious bodily harm, I sentence you to 15 years. On the multiple counts of violating a restraining order, I sentence you to 5 years consecutive. On the charge of terroristic threatening, 10 years consecutive. On stalking charges, 5 years consecutive. Total sentence 35 years in state prison with no possibility of parole for 30 years. The courtroom erupted. Mrs. Reed screamed. Marcus lunged toward Emma, but the bailiffs held him back. 35 years, Marcus roared. You can't do this. I'll appeal. I'll fight this. You have that right, Mr. Reed, but I suspect any appeals court will uphold this sentence given your behavior in this courtroom today. Judge Morrison's gaze was ice. You're 57 years old when you're eligible for parole. Use that time to reflect on the lives you've damaged. Court is adjourned. The gavel's final strike felt like a door slamming shut on a chapter of Emma's life. 35 years. Marcus would be 67 years old. Emma would be 61. A lifetime away. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Emma had prepared a statement with Janet's help. Today, justice was served, not just for me, but for every woman Marcus Reed hurt over the years. I want to thank the Thunder Valley Motorcycle Club for keeping me safe, my lawyer Janet for fighting for me, and every survivor who finds the courage to speak up. Emma looked directly into the cameras. If you're in an abusive relationship, please know that it's not your fault, that you deserve better, that help is available. You don't have to suffer in silence like I did. The press conference lasted 20 minutes. When it ended, Emma felt simultaneously exhausted and liberated. She'd done everything she could. The rest was out of her hands. Back at the clubhouse, the celebration was more genuine this time. 35 years meant Emma could truly rebuild without fear. She could move forward. That evening, Ace called a club meeting. Emma was invited to attend the first time a non-member had been extended that courtesy. "Brothers," Ace began. "Emma's been with us for almost 3 months now. In that time, she's shown courage most people can't imagine. She faced her abuser in court. She helped other women find their strength. She's become family." The members nodded, several calling out agreement. "We've been discussing creating a formalized victim protection program. Luna's been running things informally for years, but it's time to make it official. We're proposing the Phoenix program, helping domestic violence survivors escape, rebuild, and thrive." Luna stood. "We want Emma to co-direct the program with me, if she's willing." Emma's eyes widened. "Me? But I'm not qualified. I'm not a counselor or—" "You're a survivor," Ghost interrupted. "You know what these women need because you needed it yourself. That's worth more than any degree." "We'll provide training," Luna added. "Counseling certification, legal education, crisis management. But your lived experience is what makes you qualified." Emma looked around at these people who'd become her family, who'd risked their safety to protect her, who now wanted to empower her to help others. "Yes," she said, her voice strong. "Yes, I want to do this." The following weeks were a whirlwind. Emma enrolled in online counseling courses while continuing to work at the diner. She and Luna began formalizing the Phoenix program, securing funding, establishing protocols, reaching out to domestic violence shelters and legal aid organizations. The support group grew. What started with 6 women became 12, then 20. They met twice weekly now, and Emma found herself sharing her story repeatedly, not as a victim anymore, but as a survivor with tools and hope to offer. One evening, a woman named Rachel showed up. She was 34, mother of 2, and her husband had been arrested for assault the previous week. "I don't know how to tell my kids their father isn't coming home," Rachel said through tears. "They're 7 and 9. They think he's on a business trip." Emma sat beside her. "How much do they know about what happened?" "They heard us fighting, saw the bruises sometimes, but I always made excuses." Rachel's voice broke. "I thought I was protecting them. Was I wrong?" "You were doing the best you could in an impossible situation," Emma said gently. "Now you have a chance to teach them something important, that no one has the right to hurt you, that you're strong enough to protect yourself and them." "I don't feel strong. I feel terrified." "Strength isn't not being afraid. It's being afraid and doing what needs to be done anyway." Emma squeezed Rachel's hand. "You left. You pressed charges. You're here asking for help. That's strength." After the meeting, Luna pulled Emma aside. "You're a natural at this. Rachel couldn't stop thanking me for introducing her to you. I just told her what I needed to hear 6 months ago." "Exactly. That's why this works." Luna smiled. "We're scheduling our first official Phoenix program training next month. We've already had 15 women contact us about the program." The Phoenix program officially launched on a crisp November morning. The local newspaper ran a feature story. The mayor attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Emma stood beside Luna, Hawk, and Ace, feeling both proud and overwhelmed. "This is really happening," she whispered to Hawk. "You made it happen," he replied. "You and Luna." Emma thought about how far she'd come. 6 months ago, she'd been choking in a parking garage, certain she was about to die. Now she was standing in front of cameras, launching a program to help other women escape what she'd survived. The weeks turned into months. Emma moved out of the clubhouse into her own apartment, small, safe hers. Luna helped her pick out furniture. Hawk installed extra locks and a security system. Ghost taught her self-defense moves beyond what she'd learned in class. The nightmares became less frequent, the panic attacks manageable. Emma started dating again, casually, carefully, with firm boundaries she'd learned to enforce. One evening, 8 months after Marcus's sentencing, Emma sat in a coffee shop waiting for a date. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her stomach clenched reflexively. Old habits died hard. But it wasn't a threat. It was Katie Henderson. Emma, I wanted you to know my boyfriend was sentenced today. 5 years. I gave a victim impact statement like you did. I told them about seeing you stand up in court and knowing I could do it too. Thank you for showing me how to be brave. Emma read the message 3 times, tears blurring her vision. This was what healing looked like. Not just surviving, but helping others survive. Taking pain and transforming it into purpose. Her date arrived a kind-faced teacher named David who made her laugh and respected her boundaries. They talked for 2 hours about books and travel and normal things. When he walked her to her car, he asked if he could see her again. I'd like that, Emma said, and meant it. Life continued. The Phoenix program expanded to serve 30 women in its first year. Emma completed her counseling certification. She and Luna spoke at domestic violence awareness events, sharing their stories, offering hope. One afternoon, Emma received a call from an unfamiliar number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Emma Rodriguez, a woman's voice, older, tentative. Yes. This is Margaret Reed, Marcus's mother. Emma's hand tightened on the phone. Every instinct screamed to hang up. I'm calling to apologize. Mrs. Reed's voice was thick with tears. I've spent the last year in therapy. Real therapy, not just grief counseling. My therapist helped me understand that I enabled Marcus, that I made excuses for his behavior since he was a child, that I failed him by never holding him accountable. Emma didn't speak, couldn't speak. I posted your information online. I blamed you for destroying my son, but you didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself, and he hurt you terribly. Mrs. Reed took a shaky breath. I can't undo what I did, but I wanted you to know that I see the truth now. Marcus is exactly where he belongs. And you deserved so much better than how he treated you. I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. Emma felt tears streaming down her face. Thank you for saying that. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just needed you to know that not everyone in Marcus's family believes his lies anymore. After they hung up, Emma sat in her car processing the conversation. Healing took so many forms. Sometimes it was justice, sometimes therapy, sometimes just acknowledgement. Mrs. Reed's apology didn't erase the damage she'd caused, but it mattered. 2 years after the trial, the Phoenix program held its first annual fundraiser. Over 200 people attended. Emma gave a speech about the program's impact. 73 women served, 84 children kept safe, 12 successful prosecutions of abusers. When I was being strangled in that parking garage, I thought my story was ending, Emma told the crowd. But really it was just beginning. The Phoenix program exists because people believed I deserved a second chance. Now we extend that same belief to every woman who walks through our doors. Survival is just the first step. We help them rebuild. We help them rise. The applause was thunderous. Emma looked out at the crowd and saw familiar faces: Jessica Turner, now a victim advocate herself; Ashley, who'd gone back to school; Maria, who'd opened her own business; Katie Henderson with her grandmother; Rachel and her 2 children thriving. After the event, Hawk found Emma outside. Proud of you. You know that, right? I couldn't have done any of this without you. Without all of you. Emma leaned against the railing. You saved my life that night. No, I just gave you space to save yourself. Hawk's voice was gentle. Everything that came after the trial, the program helping other women, that was all you. Emma thought about that, about how far she'd come from that terrified woman in the parking garage, about the strength she'd found, the purpose she'd discovered, the life she'd built from the ashes of her old one. Sarah would be proud of you too, Emma said softly. You turned your grief into something beautiful. We both did. Hawk smiled. That's what survivors do. 3 years after Marcus's sentencing, Emma received official notification that his first appeal had been denied. He would serve his full sentence. She read the letter, felt the final weight lift from her shoulders, and then filed it away. Marcus didn't deserve space in her head anymore. That evening, she co-led a support group meeting for new members. A young woman named Sophie sat in the corner, arms wrapped around herself, clearly terrified. "I don't know if I can do this," Sophie whispered. "He's so angry. He says he'll kill me if I leave." Emma moved to sit beside her. "I know you're scared. You should be scared. What you're facing is genuinely dangerous. But let me tell you something. 3 years ago, I was sitting exactly where you are. My ex-boyfriend had just tried to strangle me. He threatened my family. He seemed unstoppable." Sophie looked up, eyes red from crying. "Today he's in prison for 35 years, and I'm here running a program that's helped over 100 women escape situations like yours." Emma's voice was firm, confident. "You deserve safety. You deserve peace. You deserve a life without fear, and we're going to help you get there. You really think I can do this?" "I know you can, because I did. And if I can survive what Marcus put me through, you can survive this." Emma squeezed Sophie's hand. "You're not alone anymore. That's what makes all the difference." After the meeting, Emma stood outside in the cool evening air. Luna joined her, both women silent for a moment. "Remember when you first came to the clubhouse?" Luna asked. "So scared you could barely speak. I remember thinking I'd never feel normal again. And now look at you, counselor, program director, saving lives." Luna smiled. "You became exactly what you needed when you were scared." Emma thought about that as she drove home to her apartment. About the journey from victim to survivor to advocate. About how trauma didn't define you, what you did with it defined you. Her phone rang as she pulled into her parking spot. David, the teacher she'd been dating for over a year now. They'd built something real, something healthy, based on trust and respect and genuine affection. "Hey," Emma answered. "How was your day?" "Good. Better now that I'm talking to you." David's voice made her smile. "Still on for dinner tomorrow?" "Wouldn't miss it." After they hung up, Emma sat in her car for a moment. She thought about Marcus locked away where he couldn't hurt anyone. She thought about the women she'd helped, the lives she'd touched, the difference she'd made. She thought about Hawk, who'd shown her that not all men were dangerous. About Luna, who'd taught her that healing was possible. About the Thunder Valley MC, who'd given her family when she needed it most. But mostly she thought about herself, about the woman she'd become. Strong, capable, unbroken. Emma Rodriguez had survived the unsurvivable. She'd faced her abuser in court and won. She'd taken her trauma and transformed it into purpose, her pain into power. Marcus had tried to destroy her. Instead, he'd given her wings. She got out of her car and walked into her apartment, her space, her sanctuary, her home. Tomorrow, she'd wake up and help more women find their way to freedom. She'd continue building the life Marcus had tried to steal. Because that's what survivors did. They endured. They rebuilt. They rose from the ashes stronger than before. Emma was living proof that monsters could be defeated, that justice could prevail, that healing was possible. And she would spend the rest of her life making sure other women knew it too. The nightmare was over. The future stretched ahead, bright and full of possibility. Emma was finally truly, completely free.